Somalia is not a country. They are a country because they claim on us, and they have been given that they are the legitimate government for Somalia, which sometimes we see as Somalilanders. Ironic when we heard that news from the international community. The people who are not putting their house in order to claim that they are. Sometimes it can be something not good to the Somalis. The people who are not doing anything will represent the Somali. It become something that we cannot, even to listen is very difficult. That people who are not reconciling by themselves for 17 years. And sometimes we ask why Somaliland that have been neglected have set up a rule of law in place and functioning state in place. And Somalia that have been supported by the international community have never materialized anything for almost 17 years. It's a question to be answered by the international community.
There are contradictory views in this. There is a resolution that was passed at the OAU in 1963. And that was to stop, at the time, Somali irredentism and Somali expansionism. Because there was a claim, the union between Somaliland and what used to be called Southern Somalia was with the understanding of bringing all Somali-speaking people in Horn of Africa under one flag. That's why we have had, in those days, the 5-star blue flag. That included Djibouti, which was the former French Somaliland, the Northern Frontier District of Kenya, and also the Ogaden, so-called, now Region 5. In the constitution at the time of Somalia, the Republic, what used to be called Republic of Somalia, there was an article which said all Somali-speaking people in the Horn of Africa ought to be brought under one flag, by all means, including force. And force, we did it. 2 major wars with Ethiopia, low-intensity wars with Kenya, with the shifters. In order to stop that Somali nationalism, the OAU passed a resolution that colonial boundaries ought to be respected in Africa, in order to stop territorial ambitions of others. Now that we went back to our own colonial boundaries, and we said to the African Union, hey, we went back according to the resolution of the OAU and the subsequent executive of the African Union. So it's paradoxical, really, where, the Africans will stand. The case of Somaliland is legitimate, it's legal. As the President has stated, the Anglo-Italian treaties, the Anglo-French treaties, the Anglo-Ethiopian treaties are in place. And it will not become a precedent with regards to others. For example, you have Southern Somalia, which was always one entity, from Bosaso, from Cape Kardafi to Kismayo. That was always the case. So this will not be a precedent as far as we are concerned, and that's what the African Union has stated. The Commission, particularly, the Commission of the African Union clearly stated in their report 2005 that the case of Somaliland is very unique, and therefore it ought to be discussed and finalized. The status of Somaliland ought to be finalized. So we consider that there will not be someone in Bayambok Hall cannot say that we are an entity. And incidentally, the Puntland says always they are waiting for a federal Somalia.
Even in their charter.
In their charter. So as far as we are concerned, we do have a case. We have a legitimate case. We have a moral case. We have built a nation. We are a constitutional state. The voice of the people have been the will of the people, the referendum that we have taken for our constitution, finish it once and for all the status of Somalilanders and the fate of the Somalilanders. There was a question that was asked when we were up there with the chairman, and that was, what is that Somaliland? What's the problem Somaliland is facing? Somaliland is simply between a hard rock and a hard place. It cannot access to international financial institutions. It cannot access bilateral relations with the it cannot trade. It cannot access to international financial institutions, bilateral relations, although we are a de facto state. So our contribution is missing from the international community, really. And that is one of the biggest problems. You have here a democratic state, a nation that has a rule of law, that has held elections, that has exercised good governance, human rights. We have got over 93 human rights organizations only in Hargeisa, not even in Bur'o or Erigavo or elsewhere. Only in Hargeisa you have at least from what we know, 93 different organizations. So it's about time that the international community really takes a hard look on the case of Somaliland.
We have made a contact with the African Union, and we confessed the Commission of the African Union to send a fact-finding mission to our country in 2005, and they made a declaration: Somaliland be recognized, it will not open Pandora box to Africa. They will go just to the boundaries that we have gained during our independence. And we have gained independence prior to the other part of Somalia, 5 days ahead. At that time, the reason that we united was to bring 5 Somalis together, including Djibouti, which is now a republic, the 5th region of Ethiopia, North Frontier District of Kenya, and that idea doesn't work. We went with wars with Ethiopia, adventures, and a lot of problems. And when the country was collapsed in way back 1991, we started to withdraw from that union. So, in short, this is a brief history of Somaliland, and we are seeking our recognition. I didn't see anywhere that we are any legal means to be a country, but it's only a political. What we are facing is a political problem that is against our recognition. I think if Somaliland becomes a member of the international, our voice is not heard in anywhere. We have been stationed too remote from all our, in the Horn of Africa. We never come to the centers that we talk about, that we are part and parcel of the Horn of Africa. We are a functioning state in place, but we are not in any, we cannot come to any forum in the African Union, whether in the IGAD or the African Union. So even we cannot contribute what we would have to contribute in that issue. We are playing a significant role in our area because we made that country peacefully, no trafficking of terrorists. We have captured. We are the only people who captured terrorists in our country and who sent them to open to the court openly and tested them, and they were sentenced, tried, and they were sentenced to different sentences. And we proved that they were guilty in front. They were having their lawyers brought them in front of the court openly. So we are doing at our best in our area, but we are out of the equation. We cannot come to the forums that we can contribute. a lot. What we are facing is double standard from the international community. You know, many countries in Europe have been recognized, and there were no problems that they faced. What we are pushing is to advocate for our case, legal case, in the African Union, the United Nations, and to confess international, any country in Europe, in America. We are working for that. But we will continue our case to go for how long it will take. We'll continue our case to confess any member state all over the world, US, UK, European countries, not Africa only. But many Europeans and your country, they were telling us that we must go to the African Union. I was telling you that it's a long, impossible mission to get 28 member states of Africa to confess our case. It's difficult. Our case is difficult. But we would like the international community to revisit our case in the Security Council. The Security Council, everything comes from the Security Council. It was a resolution that was passed way back '93 by the Security Council that the unity is sacred. This is the problem that we are facing. We are trying to confess which way or the other, with the help of our friends worldwide, how this can be revisited and problem of Somaliland and Somalia be dealt differently. Because we have been given as a gift to our brothers, Somalia. And we've never been a property of Somalia. We were two countries that came together, and in many African countries. So we appeal to you, to the intellectuals in everywhere, to advocate for our case in the future. That has to be revisited, our case to be revisited, and because legally we have fulfilled all conditions of statehood. There is no legal problem that we are facing, but it is only a political problem that we are facing. So we would like this. There must be a resolution. The easiest way, I can say, there must be a new resolution that's coming from the Security Council, some way or the other. Because Africa, it will take a long way to get out our recognition. But we have no other choice. If we didn't get from other places, we'll continue to push the African member states also.
We are not only preoccupied with, at the end of the day, on recognition. We are doing what we have been doing right from the beginning, since '91. Institutional building, beefing up these institutions. It is a nation-building process. Several tracks: development, governance, promoting, of course, the case of Somaliland all along. These are all several parallel tracks, and that's exactly what we are doing. Development is another major issue, and always pushing, of course, the case of Somaliland. So we have been doing, of course, incrementally. We have already made big gains, as we consider. We came, in fact, from a long way. The fact that the African Union is talking about the case of Somaliland itself is very, very significant. The fact that we are sitting here together is very, very significant. The fact that we have been received very well by the U.S. State Department and others is very, very significant. The fact that we are traveling with our own passports is also very, very significant. So we are de facto. So the fact of the matter is that we are not only saying we are waiting just for recognition. There will be over $4 million investment very soon by a German European consortium on the cement factory.
400.
Over 400 million. 400, in fact, to be exact, $411 million. And that will be very, very soon. We are doing our seismic survey for our oil and gas and mineral resources, including water. You know, it's still going on, and we're talking about maybe April, March, May, they will come up with the data. So we are building the nation, the institutions of health, education, and so on, and social services, and the most importantly, the democratization process. This is absolutely one of the top priorities, and this is the roadmap that will lead to us where we want to reach, to recognition. But with the African Union, yes, we have made incremental gains. For the first time, discussing the issue of Somaliland at the executive level or at the peace and security level about its status, it's no longer a taboo. So we consider that a very big step forward. We classified the African states, African member states, in 3 groups. Those who are on board with the issue of Somaliland, very positive, like Rwanda, Ghana, Zambia, Kenya, Ethiopia, among others. And those who are still standing on the sidelines, they don't know yet what to do. And there are those who are naysayers, and these are very few, insignificant, but very powerful, mostly from Arab North Africa. So our strategy at this stage is to soften the position of our northern Arab brothers and also convince those who are still standing on the sidelines. Quite a number of them, we are working already on them. But on top of that, I think it's also very crucial to also engage. It's not only for the Africans, but UN member states. And this is where we are also trying to push both at the European Union member states and also the United States and Norway as well. So we are quite pushing as fast as we possibly can, and we have laid our case to the State Department and to the other agencies in the